Hello, everybody. My name is James Sarria. I work with MESA. MESA stands for Multinational Exchange for Sustainable Agriculture. We are a nonprofit based in Berkeley, California, right outside of San Francisco on the west coast of the United States. And we've been working in areas of international exchange and sustainable agriculture for over 20 years, starting in the late 1990s. I'm really excited to share information about today's information session. We're launching a new program called Agroecology, Farming and Food Pathways. It's a program funded by the USDA, and we are really excited to recruit for our first cohort starting in September of 2020. I look forward to you learning about our program, learning a little bit more about MESA, having a chance to learn about our partners, as well as finding ways that we can engage you through our program, and we're looking forward to your application. Please share this information that you feel would be helpful to anybody that is in your community and your network. Our first cohort is being offered virtually, based in California. So it's really exciting time to engage these topics and really move forward opportunities in sustainable agriculture and agro-ecosystems. A little bit about MESA. We've supported over 1,500 international stewards. That's the core of our programming since we were founded as an organization. The stewards come from around the world to engage and live on farms in the United States, as well as learn about alternative food systems and different ways to approach some of our challenging global issues to move towards a more sustainable global economy around sustainable agroecology and practice agroecology in our local spaces. A little bit about, as I mentioned, we've supported international exchanges. There's over 1,500 that have supported over the last many years. MESA has been an organization. They've come from all parts of the world, as you can see, and they come to many different areas, mostly centered in California and many in the East Coast of the United States, but throughout the United States, all the way even to Hawaii, we've supported international stewards. They get to know individual families and live on farms, learn about CSA, community-supported agriculture, and really do a deeper dive into the development of their sustainable agricultural skills through the exchange program in the United States. One of the areas we'd love to highlight and share with you today is just a kind of a high-level snapshot of some of our programming. We mentioned we've worked globally, nationally, and locally. Our scales of kind of discourse, if you will, globally, supporting the recruitment, but programming-wise, we support the Certificate in Applied Agroecology. It's a program that our current AFFP is heavily leveraged and used for the development of our curriculum, as well as supporting our international stewards during their programming, as all the international stewards have access to our course and have either taken it or finding ways to engage with topics of agroecology in their local communities. On the national scope, is really the focus, as we mentioned, in agroecology through farm training and practice in sustainable agriculture. That's again through our international program, where we have international stewards come to the United States and train anywhere from 3 months to 12 months through a J1 visa program. And MESA is the host organization for these international stewards to really, not only learn about sustainable agriculture, but really connect with culture in the United States and integrate well into a community from the perspective of sustainable agriculture. And then the local program highlight is the AFFP, our current program we're launching in September of 2020. AFFP is Agroecology, Farming and Food Pathways, and we're recruiting currently for the first cohort. So there's currently the first one will start in September, but we'll have 5 other cohorts that will take place over the next couple of years, where we're supporting individuals through core programming and agroecology. The goal of the program is to provide a pathway for individuals that historically have been left out of the conversation or marginalized from conversations on food sovereignty, food systems, and agroecology, sustainable agriculture, and farming. So it's really important to look at the landscape of these conversations and then see how this program serves as an intervention to provide resources for groups that have been socially disadvantaged, definitions that the USDA uses for the design and the recruitment of individuals for this program. A highlight of our international programming, we're currently supporting an international fellowship in applied agroecology with our partners in Peru. We have a regional partners through a nonprofit, Instituto Perucano. It's an organization based in the Peruvian Amazon that has been supporting organizations to connect with and develop out recruitment for our international program. But also specifically, we're currently hosting in 2020 a program that's supporting 38 fellows since they couldn't travel to the United States for our international program, and we received funding through the U.S. Embassy in Lima, Peru. We were able to offer scholarships for 38 fellows to complete a 7-month program in applied agroecology to learn about entrepreneurship, professional development, agroecology, and food systems, and a way to leverage local knowledge and really build out their professional development skills in agroecology. An example of our national program is at Clark Farm. It's a organic farm based in Massachusetts. This picture here on the left is 3 of our international stewards that they are completing. On this picture, they were with the host on the farm, really to integrate into the family life and have a chance to jump into firsthand knowledge and practical training in agroecology, learning about community-supported agriculture, because the Clark Farm supports a CSA model, as well as other practices like farmers markets, and really having a connection to the farm and a really intimate experience with the community. So a lot of our kind of program development has really taken shape over the years through these kind of one-to-one experiences with our host farms. Clark Farm being one of many host organizations that we've supported international stewards at throughout the years. To jump into our programming for today, as far as our overview, AFFP, Agroecology, Farming, and Food Pathways, these are some of the partners we're working with to develop the program in the curriculum in California, and really support not only individuals learning about agroecology, farming, and food pathways, but really to start developing a network in the local community. Agroecology is really based on this concept and idea of local community knowledge is a fundamental part of the food system. So really, it's important that we, not only leverage our international and national programming strength, but really leverage the resources that other organizations have to offer. And we'll learn more about our partners and get a chance to hear from them shortly. But the 3 core partners are the Center for Food, Faith, and Justice in Berkeley, California, the Institute for Sustainability at Cal State University in the Northridge campus in Northridge, California. And the 3rd major partner is the Mission Resource Conservation District in Fallbrook, California. Each of our partners work with a farm. So in partnership with Center for Food, Faith, and Justice is Eco Village Farm and Learning Center in Richmond, California. And the partner for the Mission Resource Conservation District is Edge of Urban Farm in Vista, California. The unique partnership with the Cal State University Northridge is that they have the Center for Sustainability, CSUN, which they have access to a farm on campus. So they're kind of a one in combination kind of partnership model. To kind of jump into the details of our program, a high level commitment is that the program starts in September and runs through February of 2021. The program includes an introduction to agroecology, so it's a curriculum and programming to support and kind of a foundation in learning about agroecology and farming and food pathways. The program concludes with a certificate in applied agroecology. So once you complete the program in February, you not only receive the certificate in applied agroecology, but you have a chance to continue on to engage in hands-on learning at some of our partner farms and our farm sites, as well as the goal of the program is to apply for USDA funding. For individuals that are interested in applying, we're supporting individuals through that process to really have a chance to apply as an individual or as a group for funding to implement their own project in agroecology, farming, and food pathways, really farming systems that support the target demographic, which we'll talk about shortly. For the current first cohort, we're focusing on virtual programming. So that looks like is that using online tools such as Google Classrooms to engage with the curriculum, participating in Zoom sessions where you're actually getting to see and engage the instructors of the course and some of the program participants and guest speakers. Having hands-on workshops is the other component. So having virtual workshops and areas that will support your the growth of your knowledge in agroecology and farming, and really kind of complement and support you in your professional development throughout the program. And as well as virtual farm visits for this first round, and throughout the program, once we're able to have in person after the conditions improve nationally and internationally with COVID-19. We look forward to eventually moving into in-person programming for this. The first cohort, we're recruiting for the virtual only opportunity, as well as not only the coursework and the programming, but also the chance to connect with the local community, build some of the network that you have, and really share some of that social capital, and find ways to meet the goals of the program, but also really connect that with your personal and professional goals. So again, a high level, September 2020 through February 2021 is the cohort 1 commitment. It's on average about 4 to 7 hours per week that you'll be committed to the program. Some of that will be sessions, virtual sessions we have to attend, and some of them will be weekend hands-on workshops, virtual again, and then farm visits. So it's on average 1 activity per week, whether it be participating in a session, attending a virtual workshop, or completing some of the independent work that you'll be doing throughout the program. So it's really meant to support individuals that are interested in the topic, but also have a curiosity, a genuine curiosity to really build out and extend their knowledge in agroecology. So it's really a great opportunity to connect with local communities and find ways that you can kind of meet the goals of your own personal and professional development. These are some of the topics that we'll be covering. They cover areas of food sovereignty on a high level, participatory action, food systems, land defense, agroecological practices, and sustainable agroecosystems. Some of the course content that we look forward to engaging in food sovereignty may include areas of ecotechnologies, local knowledge and indigenous knowledge, areas of seed defense, and topics in decolonization. The participatory action, for example, will include the concept of participatory action research, even areas of ecofeminism, popular education, and dialogues of knowledge are really important, because the fundamentals of agroecology is really looking at and leveraging local resources and finding ways to find solutions to address and kind of mitigate some of these international industrial food systems and find alternatives to these models. The areas of food systems in general really highlights the topics in urban agriculture. We're looking at local markets, the ideas of farmers markets and community markets and how to leverage those, and topics of agroecology, food health, and really family farming are some of the topics that we will be covering in areas of food systems. The next area of land defense, some of the topics that will be covered: social environmental rights in certain areas of autonomy and well-being, agrarian reform, and areas of just social social movements in the food system. It's really important to understand on a landscape, why we're even talking about alternatives, when in order to understand alternatives, it's really important to understand what are the current systems we have in place. Areas of agroecological practices, some of the highlights are talking about biological control, water and soil conservation, agrobiodiversity, polyculture and restoration, and definitely agroforestry systems. These are areas that are covered in the subtopics of agroecological practices. And also for, to conclude the area of the course content, we're looking at sustainable agroecosystems, biological conservation, areas of community ecology to individuals at no cost. So they're fully funded through the USDA to support individuals that are in this target demographic. Again, anybody is willing, open to apply, and given availability of the program, we're happy to engage all individuals that meet our minimum requirements. The minimum age is 18. So really, everybody that's by the start date of our program, at least 18 years of age or older, and really kind of focusing on these target demographics. It's really important to understand what socially disadvantaged represents, and this is based on the USDA government-funded definition. So this is really coming from the USDA individuals that identify these categories as a target for our programming. So it's important to understand what the purpose of these target demographics are, but it's also an understanding that the topic of social disadvantage can be a broad area that we look forward to engaging individuals that meet those criteria.
So for us, philosophically, we look at a couple of things, right? What does it mean to put agroecology into practice? And part of that is definitely about some of the research-based, data-driven scientific methodologies, but also understanding, and I think, we often forget about indigenous practices that have been around for millennia. And oftentimes we don't honor and value that. And so while we definitely want to make sure that we're uplifting sustainable practices, but agroecology is also about hearing the voices from those closest on the ground and taking those practices and implementing those practices, whether we're talking about things like erosion, integrated pest management, or whatever it is. And so we're going to definitely want to be able to do that. But the other part of it is also we're excited about the participatory pieces of what it means to build a movement around urban agroecology and food systems thinking. Oftentimes, we throw words out, such as food deserts and food sovereignty and food justice, but we really need to look at, what that has meant historically, not just in this nation, but globally. How oftentimes movements around food systems have been movements that have moved nations from where they are. So if you start thinking about even things like the so-called Arab Spring and others, food was a central part of that fight for justice. And so we really want to have that forefront, front and center of what we do. In Berkeley, we're in the backyard of one of the big movements in recent years, the Occupy the Farm movement at the Gill Tract, what that meant in so many ways and for so many people, for so many groups of people. And so we definitely want to make sure that we're getting the technical training in as people become emerging farmers or food system thinkers and advocates. But also, we really want to look at the social historical context of what that means for where we are in 2020. When we look at everything that's going on and how it's impacted by COVID, how it's impacted by other movements of social justice and equity. So
we're in a unique county, really, in Southern California. San Diego County has more farms than any other county in the state of California. But the median size farm is only 4 acres. And so it's mostly small farms up against the rural-urban interface. Resource Conservation District were established as the local partner to USA's Natural Resource Conservation Service. And so we do more on-farm work oftentimes than our USDA partners. And so we're the ones that do this visit and help the growers understand how they can work with the land. Mike mentioned those indigenous practices. When the Spanish arrived here in California, the Native Americans were already farming the land and making growing food in steep rain areas, capturing water in seasonal rain in the county. And unfortunately, many of those were lost, and some are working hard to gain that understanding of how we can work with the land to bring food to. And that's another focus of what we'll be doing.
Once again, going to be focused a lot on training college students, because we believe that they are, we know they are the future. We know that farmers do not look like university students at season. So we want to make sure to sort of amplify and, diversify the agriculture, environment that is going to be happening for the next generations. And especially for us, we are in Los Angeles once again, so we are a very urban place. We don't have land to grow. So we kind of just get very creative, with hydroponics, aquaponics, with urban farming, as like how can you grow in like little spaces, how can you just really bring, you know, this agroecology into an urban environment. As well, we're going to be focusing a lot on you know, once again, this theme of social justice. For me, it's a lot like having a lot of respect for the land. This is because Northridge is in the San Fernando Valley, and just about 50 years ago, so somebody who's alive, you know, like older than me could have seen this change. We used to be a farm. We used to be like one of the largest orange producers in the state. And all of a sudden, we just turned into like these concrete thing, you know, and we started planting things and like building buildings, and now we're urban. Now we don't have any respect for the land. And then something that really comes with when we haven't respect of the land is like understanding what we're like the indigenous native people and, you know, plants that grow well in this area. Because sometimes, you know, when it comes to colonialism, it's that, you know, the colonizer brings its crops and they start growing what they ate back at home in the new land, and they are not willing to understand of like how the native people used to like treat and eat from the land. So we're really going to be focusing on that, and as well, yes, taking a community-based participatory research approach and having community action plans. You know, it's going to be very hands-on, very thought-provoking, and we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations because that's just how change is made.
I also want to continue on the program after it ends in February to join the farm training, the agroecological practices kind of in person. You know, hopefully by the next year, that shouldn't be an issue when it's going to be starting in March of next year. If you can just respond, starting with Mike and then Lance and then Frida, why should individuals be excited to join your community?
I think that everything that both Frida and Lance said earlier, in addition to what they said, I would say the reason people should be excited is because this gives us an opportunity to build and extend local networks, partnerships. I think one of the powerful things about agroecology is it engages not only, you know, indigenous practices and local practices, but it gives people an opportunity to share and get to know each other and build this movement where we are. So we don't have to look at it as being something that's like from outside of our communities, outside of our areas. We are doing this, and we're not only learning and building emerging farmers and practitioners, but we are also, you know, again, extending the movement, and we're doing this together. So we're activating the power of people. And that's something that I say, you know, we invite folks here, and we're really excited about having that opportunity and want them to be excited about too.
In our area, there's a very small swell of growers starting to look at things from a agroecological perspective. And so I think participation in our program is going to not only connect a new community of people working together as a program, but they're going to be joining that swell and growing that interest in sustainable foodways in our area. So the opportunity to connect to a community.
For example, here at CSUN is that we have, you know, like this culture of sustainability, and actually something that that I think I failed to mention before is that at CSUN in its little like microsystem, we have sort of like achieved a sustainable food system in which like there's virtually like zero waste, you know, with composting programs, with food diversion programs. And I just think what this really is going to do is that, you know, since we are an institution of higher education, you know, and we are all about like, you know, evidence-based methods, we're all about, you know, creating change. We have so many resources as a university. And in just the like little words, it's like, we are going to be the change, you know, we are going to do this to create, you know, like game changers because we know like this system has not been working, you know, like sort of like conservative agriculture practices. We know what is happening in the Midwest. We know what is happening to the soil, to our climate. So it's really time to really, like I said, really intake this this cultural sustainability, agroecology, and like really be the change that you want to see in the world.
And the spaces will be really based on a West Coast time zone. So it's really important as you consider applying for the program that you take that into account. Yeah, and again, once we receive your application, we'll process that and we'll start again submitting responses as early as September 8th for this first cohort. Each cohort will contain around 20 individuals. So we have an opportunity to really not only engage a broad region around California, but also a broad sense of diversity and social inclusion to target demographics that have not mainly been given opportunities in the past.
To share with what I believe are going to be many, many, many participants. And I look forward to seeing you all in virtual space, if not real life, in the coming months.